For people who have suffered from mental illness and have been homeless as a result, to have stable, clean, safe housing is one of the biggest and most basic needs. When that is stabilized, then they're able to move on to many other things.
No one really knows what I go through because I deal with my own trouble, my own problems. I don't take it to my family, I don't take it to my grandkids. So I don't think they really understand the severity of what I go through.
You know, sometimes I think I don't deserve to have this. But then I stop and think to myself, you know what, yes I do. I deserve to have something to hold on to that's mine. Because when you become homeless, you have nothing, nothing.
The level of problem of homelessness due to mental health issues in Broward County, it's huge because people treat it as though it were a blemish on the person's personality rather than as an illness, which is what it is.
My diagnosis is schizoaffective disorder and multiple personality disorder. Well, I started drinking when I was about 15 years old, whatever I could get my hands on. Let me believe that everything was okay. There was a lot of sexual abuse, a lot of mental abuse, and the emotional abuse, and physical abuse. I mean, all of it. You know, I just laid in my bed at night and wished I could die. Sexual abuse meant that my stepfather loved me, and that's what I believed. You know, I would wish that he would die. And that's a terrible thing for a young girl to be thinking. And I think it was then, at that point in my life, where I started to separate into different parts of me. I have like 22 different personalities that I deal with, some of them on a daily basis. I have Ella, who's 5 years old. Her function is to be there for the child in me. Peggy and Brenda are the ones that do the makeup and the dressing up. The other personalities, some of them are difficult for me to deal with, because when my head's real loud with all of them talking at once, I can't get to sleep. I'll be up all night. It's hard to talk about them, because then they want to come out and do their thing. See, they want to switch right now, and I have to stop.
Now, I suffer from schizophrenia, depression, and anxiety. I think it spirals all the way back to when I was 17 years old and I lost my mother, and I felt like I had lost my best friend who I could go to and share anything with, and when she left, there was no one. Didn't care about anything, whether I lived or died. Cutting myself, cutting my wrists, taking overdose of pills, putting guns to my head. It was pretty severe. I had to go in the hospital. They had to pump my stomach a couple of times. There was times that I cut my wrist so bad I ended up getting almost 40-some stitches in one wrist, 40-some stitches in another wrist. So I just didn't care about life in general. Our voice was instructing me to kill one of my grandkids. That was the worst experience I ever had. That was the worst. That was the worst. I destroyed my marriage and not being open and honest with my husband about how bad things were for me. That I take blame for, but my family do not know. I felt like since I was a matriarch and I was the strong one, I had no right to put that burden on. I had to figure out, how do I fix this? So I dealt with it the way I knew how, and by doing that, I made my condition worse, because it went from just being depression to hearing voices, to being controlled by the voices, to anxiety. But you can't work out depression. You have to get treatment for depression, and I didn't realize that.
I have lived through domestic violence personally. I had a son who was addicted to crack cocaine and who today is 20 years clean. I would say to you that that's nothing in comparison to a single day in the life of someone with mental health issues. Because every single minute of every single day is spent in survival. And the courage that it may have taken me to overcome my difficulties is 10 times what's required for someone who is suffering from day to day to day.
Broward Housing Solutions has given me a new outlook on life, because I went from homeless to this, and it's a big jump. It's not just a matter of getting an apartment. They really care about me, and they showed me compassion, and I'm not used to that.
Broward Housing did not help me. I would have nothing. This is my livelihood right here, that I can keep a roof over my head every month. I know I can maintain my bills. I know the budget I'm on, and I know that I can survive by living here. So I have no fear about Broward Housing because it's one of the safest environments, and I feel very, very safe to live here.
Broward Housing Solutions needs all the help that they can get. Every single one of us should be aware that there but for the grace of God go I. Yes, Broward Housing Solutions needs your help.
I'm a human being, and I get to a point where enough is enough, and I've had enough.
And I fought so hard to get away from depression that I would not like to do that. That's my greatest fear. It's falling back. So I'm going forward, and I want to go forward.